Hey there, Virgo. I'm back and here for the reading. So, I am doing a reading for you. These are timeless readings for really whoever finds it, but I am titling it a Virgo reading, thinking of it from that perspective. So, thanks for joining me. Let's see what's going on. Really positive reading so far. Wow. Um,
I need I need you to stay with me for a second because what I'm about to describe, you're either going to feel it immediately or you're going to think I've lost my mind. But if you feel it, if something in your chest just tightened or your breath just caught, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. So don't click away yet. Just stay because this matters. There's this thing that happens sometimes, not often, but sometimes, where the air between two people changes, where something that was dormant suddenly wakes up, where intensity that was buried starts pushing to the surface. And it's not gentle, it's not subtle, it's like pressure building, like something that's been contained too long and can't stay contained anymore. You know that feeling? When you can sense someone's energy shifting toward you, even when they're not saying anything, even when nothing's changed externally, but internally, something's different, something's moving. Um, my hands just went cold writing that. And what's strange about this kind of intensity is how it builds without permission, how it grows even when someone's trying to keep it controlled, how it becomes this living thing that has its own momentum regardless of what anyone wants or decides. Stay with me because this gets more specific. There's a difference between casual attraction and whatever this is. Casual attraction is manageable. It's surface level. It comes and goes without disrupting anything fundamental. But this, this other thing, it disrupts everything. It makes neutral interactions feel charged. It makes distance feel unbearable. It makes pretending feel impossible. Does that land with you? Because I think some people experience connections that feel like they're operating on a different frequency than normal human interaction, where the pull is so strong it almost feels dangerous, where the wanting is so intense it requires constant management. And that management, it's exhausting. My throat just tightened. You know, when someone's trying really hard to act normal around you, but you can feel the effort, you can sense the control they're exerting, you can tell that underneath the calm surface there's something much more chaotic happening. That's what I'm pointing to. This energy of something barely contained, of feelings that are too big for the container they're being held in, of passion that's trying to stay underground but keeps breaking through the surface anyway. And the person experiencing it, they might not even fully understand what they're feeling. They just know it's intense, they know it's consuming, they know it's taking up way more space in their internal world than makes logical sense. Have you ever been on either side of that? Tell me in the comments. Because there's this phenomenon where someone can be going about their regular life, doing regular things, maintaining regular composure, and underneath all of that, there's this wild current of feeling that's just burning, burning for contact, for closeness, for resolution of the tension. And that burning, it changes how they move through the world. It changes what they pay attention to. It changes what feels important versus trivial. Wait, I need to slow down because this is where it gets mysterious. My shoulders just drop. There's something about unexpressed intensity that builds on itself. Like the longer it stays unspoken, the more power it accumulates, the more it takes over internal landscape, the more it demands acknowledgement. And people who are carrying that kind of intensity, you can feel it on them even when they think they're hiding it. It's in how they look at you, how they respond to you, how their energy shifts when you're near versus when you're not. It's like they're radiating something they're not saying, broadcasting a frequency they're trying to keep quiet. Does that make sense? And what's interesting is how much effort goes into containing that kind of passion, how much energy it takes to keep acting like everything's normal when internally there's this eruption happening, because passion like that, it doesn't want to be quiet. It doesn't want to be managed. It wants expression. It wants release. It wants the other person to know, to feel, to respond. My jaw just unclenched. So here's what I'm noticing without spelling it out completely. There's a particular quality to energy when someone's holding feelings that are too big, when they're managing intensity that wants to explode, when they're containing passion that's becoming uncontainable. And that quality, it's palpable. It affects the space between people. It creates this charge, this electricity, this sense that something's about to happen even when nothing's happening yet. You know, when you walk into a room and you can tell something was just being discussed before you arrived, not because of evidence, just because of the energy in the air. That's what this is like. Except the thing that's about to be discussed hasn't been discussed yet. It's still being held, still being managed, still building pressure. Tell me in the comments if you've felt this, because I think what happens when someone's carrying this level of passion for another person, it starts leaking out in ways they don't control, in how present they are, in how responsive they are, in how their whole demeanor changes when that person is near. My chest just expanded. And the person on the receiving end, they might not consciously know what's happening, but they feel something. They sense the intensity, even if they can't name it. They pick up on the charge, even if they don't understand where it's coming from, because humans are so much more perceptive than we give ourselves credit for. We read energy, we sense intention, we feel what's being held even when nothing's being said. And when what's being held is this level of passion, this degree of wanting, this intensity of feeling, it creates a field that's impossible to ignore once you're tuned into it. Does that resonate? Wait, let me approach this from a different angle. My hands just warmed up. There's something about watching someone try to contain feelings they can barely manage. It's like watching a storm try to stay inside a bottle, like watching fire try to stay small when it wants to spread. And at some point, the container can't hold it anymore. The management stops working. The control breaks down. Not necessarily in a dramatic way. Sometimes it's subtle. A look that lasts too long. A response that's too intense for the context. A moment where the mask slips and the real feeling shows through. And in that moment, everything becomes clear. What was suspected becomes confirmed. What was sensed becomes known. The passion that was being hidden, it reveals itself, not through announcement, but through the inability to keep hiding it. Have you experienced that moment? That shift from wondering to knowing? Because that's what I'm pointing to here. Not the passion itself, but the moment when it can't stay underground anymore, when it has to surface, when the person carrying it can't pretend it's not there. My throat just opened. And what's mysterious about this is how it doesn't follow a timeline. It doesn't build predictably. Someone can manage intense feelings for a long time and seem fine, and then suddenly something tips, something shifts, and all that contained passion suddenly needs expression. not because anything external changed, but because internally the pressure became too much. The weight became too heavy. The distance became unbearable. So what does this mean without me telling you exactly what it means? My whole body just relaxed. It means intensity has its own momentum. It means passion doesn't stay quiet forever. It means when someone's holding feelings this strong, eventually they surface. Eventually they demand acknowledgement. Eventually they explode out of containment. Not always gracefully, not always at the right time, but inevitably, because that's the nature of real passion. It can be managed temporarily, but not suppressed permanently. It can be contained for a while, but not indefinitely. And when it breaks through, when that explosion happens, everything changes. The dynamic shifts. The truth becomes undeniable. The thing that was unspoken becomes spoken or shown or felt in ways that can't be ignored. Does that land with you? My jaw just released tension I didn't know I was holding. So stay with the mystery of it. Don't try to force it into happening. Don't try to predict exactly when or how. Just notice the energy, notice the intensity, notice what's building even when nothing's being said. Because passion, like this, it has its own timing. It surfaces when it's ready. It explodes when the container can't hold it anymore. And that moment, it's closer than people think. The truth doesn't need decoration. It doesn't need promises about tomorrow. It just is raw, real, undeniable. And when you finally see it, you can't unsee it.